gastronomic sense. If you observe the natural cycle of the body, you will find that there is something called a mandala. A mandala is a cycle of 40 to 48 days that the human system goes through. In every cycle, there will be 3 days on which your body does not need food. If you are conscious of how your body functions, you will become aware that on a particular day the body does not require food. Without effort, you can go without food on that day. Even dogs and cats have this awareness. On a particular day they often choose not to eat. The day the system says no food is a cleanup day. Since most people are not aware of which day their body should go without food, the day of Ekadashi was fixed in the Indian calendar. Ekadashi is the 11th day of the lunar segment and recurs every 14 days. It is traditionally regarded as the day to fast. If some people are unable to go without food because their activity levels demand it, or if they do not have the appropriate spiritual practice to support it, they can opt to go on a fruit diet. If you force yourself to fast without preparing your body and mind sufficiently, you will only cause damage to your health. But if your body, mind, and energy are properly prepared with the necessary practices, then fasting can be of much benefit to you. People who are constantly on nicotine and caffeine will find that fasting can become very difficult. So before fasting, prepare the body by consuming the right kind of nourishment, particularly high water content foods like fruits and vegetables. It may not be a good thing for everybody to fast, but it has many benefits if it is done with proper understanding. The entire aim and endeavor of yoga is to open up the cocoon of the physical body to the larger sensory body where you experience everything as a part of you. Fasting is an extension of this logic. It is a way of nourishing yourself without any active ingestion. It may be done as a detoxification process nowadays, but this is the internal rationale. This is why every spiritual tradition in the world has fixed a certain period of fasting for its adherents. In the yogic tradition, the fasting period was fixed according to the lunar cycle. This is because your ability to assimilate energy from water, air, and sunlight is greater on certain days of the lunar cycle. In some religions, the fasting period was fixed in peak summer when the consumption of water and sun by the human system would naturally be high. My great-grandmother, a wonderful old woman, often considered eccentric by those who didn't know any better, would frequently give away her food to ants and sparrows. Tears of bliss would be streaming down her face as she did this. People around her kept saying, "Why don't you eat, old woman?" She'd simply reply, "I am full." But all those advisors died a long time before she did. She lived on and died at the incredible age of 113. My mother used to do this as well. Every day before she ate her breakfast, she would take one handful of it and go looking for ants to feed. Only then would she eat. This has been a tradition among the womenfolk in many families. An ant is the smallest living entity you can see around you, the most inconsequential organism you can think of. So, for that very reason, you feed it first. You make an offering not to the gods, or other celestial creatures, but to the smallest creature you know. This planet belongs as much to them as it belongs to you. You understand that every creature on this planet has the same right to live as you have. This awareness can help create a conducive atmosphere, mentally and physically, for consciousness to grow. Just a simple act like this loosens you from your identification with the physical body. As you become less of a body, your awareness of the other dimensions of who you are naturally becomes enhanced. When you are very hungry, all your body wants to do is eat. Just wait for 2 minutes, you will find that it will make a big difference. When you are very hungry, you are the body. Give it a little space, and suddenly you are not just a body. Gautama the Buddha went to the extent of saying, when you are badly in need of food, if you give away your food to somebody else, you will become stronger. I am not going that far with you, I am only saying, just wait a few minutes. It will definitely leave you stronger. If you are very compulsive about food, it is good to miss one meal consciously. Try doing this on a day when you are particularly hungry and some of your favorite dishes are being cooked. Try skipping a meal. This is not to torture yourself, this is just to become free from the torture chamber that your body can very easily become. What kind of food you eat, how much you eat, how you eat, turning it from a compulsive pattern into a conscious process, this is the essence of fasting. Sadhana. Just experiment. Start with 25% natural, uncooked, or live food, fruit or vegetables, today, and slowly push it up to 100% in about 4 or 5 days. Stay there for a day or two, and again cut it down by 10%, and in another 5 days you will reach 50% raw food, 50% cooked food. This is ideal for most people, who wish to be active for 16 to 18 hours a day. Remember, if you eat cooked food, it may take you 15 minutes to eat a meal. If you eat raw food, you take a little more time to eat the same quantum of food, because you have to chew a little more. But the nature of the body is such that after 15 minutes, the body will tell you that your meal is over. So people tend to eat much less and lose weight. All it takes is being a little more conscious of how much you are eating. Restlessness to restfulness. The fact that you sleep at night makes some difference between your mornings and evenings. What is making the difference is the level of relaxation that sleep brings. If you could remain relaxed while performing all the activity of the day, you would be about the same in the evening, in terms of energy and enthusiasm, as you were in the morning. If you wake up fresh, that is a good beginning, but slowly through the day, as your relaxation levels come down, you gradually start feeling stressed. Stress is not because of work, this is important to remember. Everybody thinks their job is stressful. No job is stressful. There are many jobs that could present challenging situations. There could be nasty bosses, insecure colleagues, emergency rooms, impossible deadlines, or you might even find yourself in the middle of a war zone. But these are not inherently stressful. It is our compulsive reaction to the situations in which we are placed that causes stress. Stress is a certain level of internal friction. One can easily lubricate the inner mechanism with some amount of inner work and awareness. So, it is your inability to handle your own system that is stressing you out. On some level, you do not know how to handle your body, mind, and emotions, that is the problem. How then do you keep your system free of stress so that you remain in the same level of enthusiasm, relaxation, and happiness, whether it is morning or evening? An average person's pulse rate on an empty stomach would be in the 70s or even 80s. For a person doing the right type of meditative practice, you will find that the pulse rate would range between the 30s and 40s. Even after a good lunch, it would stay in the 50s. This is just one parameter that indicates the level of restfulness that your body is experiencing moment to moment. Restfulness essentially defines the replenishing and rejuvenating capability of the body. You cannot slow down your system at the cost of activity. What is necessary is to keep your system in such a way that activity does not take its toll upon it. Maybe physically you get exhausted, but it need not stress you in any way. If you are capable of being vibrantly active and still relaxed, then it is worthwhile. If you start certain simple practices of yoga, in 3 to 4 months' time, your pulse rate will drop at least 8 to 20 counts very easily. That means the body is running so much more efficiently and at a relaxed pace. What the body needs is not sleep but restfulness. If you keep the body very relaxed through the day, your sleep quota will go down naturally. If your work and taking a walk or exercising are also relaxation for you, your sleep quota will drop even further. Right now, people want to do everything the hard way. I see people walking in the park in a state of tension. Whether you walk or jog, why can't it be done easily, joyfully? This exercise may be causing more harm to you than well-being because you are going at it as if you're going into battle. Don't battle with life. You are not anti-life, you are life. Just get in tune with it and you will see that you will pass through it easily. Keeping yourself fit and well is not a battle. Do some activity that you enjoy, play a game, swim, walk, run. If you don't like to do anything except eat cheesecake all day, then you have a problem. Otherwise, there is no incompatibility between being active and relaxed at the same time. How much sleep does your body need? It depends on the level of physical activity you are engaged in. There is no need to fix the quota of either food or sleep. To program the calories you must consume and the number of hours you must sleep is a foolish way to handle life. Let the body decide how much it should eat today, not you. Today your activity levels are low, so you eat less. Tomorrow your activity is high, so you eat more. Similarly with sleep, when you feel sufficiently relaxed, you come awake. The moment the body is rested, it will wake up, whether it be at 3 or 4 or 8 o'clock. When it comes to food and sleep, your body is the best judge. If the body is at a certain level of alertness and awareness, you will see that once it is well rested, it will awaken, that is, if it is eager to come to life. If it is somehow trying to use the bed as a grave, then it is a problem. Keep the body in such a way that it is not longing to avoid or escape life. Maintain it in such a way that it is longing to come awake. Sadhana. If you sleep without a pillow or with a very low pillow, which doesn't allow the spine to get pinched, the neuronal regeneration of the brain and the cellular regeneration of the neurological system will be much better. If you sleep without a pillow, it is best to lie on your back in a supine position, rather than on your side. Lying in this position is referred to in yoga as shavasana. It enhances the purification and rejuvenation of the body, promotes the free flow of movement in the energy system, bringing relaxation and vitality. But there is no reason to get dogmatic about this. At least in your sleep, don't take a position. Carnal to cosmic. Existence is a dance between the unmanifest and the manifest. The moment there is a manifestation, there is duality, light and darkness, male and female, birth and death, and so on. Though unity is the basic fabric of creation, duality brings texture, design, and color to life. All the various manifestations that you see as life today are fundamentally rooted in duality. Because there are two, there are many. If there were only one, there would be no existence. Once there are two, the game of life begins. Once duality begins, sex begins. What we call sex is just two parts of this duality striving to become one. In the process of these dualities meeting, there are also certain functions that nature wants to fulfill, like procreation and the survival of the species. All duality is striving for unity, because what was once one has manifested itself as two. Now there is a perpetual longing to become one. This longing to become one finds expression in many ways. When you are young and your intelligence is hijacked by your hormones, sex will be the way. When you are middle-aged and your intelligence is hijacked by your emotions, love is the way. When you are old and bereft of hormonal mischief, prayer is the way. But irrespective of age, when you transcend all this and seek the same union on a much higher level of awareness, then yoga is the way. If you are seeking oneness with the body, you need to remember that physical bodies will always remain two, no matter what you do. For a few moments, a sense of unity will happen, and then people fall apart. If divorce does not do it, death will. It is bound to happen. Sex is just two opposites making an attempt to become one. Your individuality means not only false boundaries that you have set up in your mental framework in the form of your preferences and dislikes, tastes and opinions. It also means you are trapped within the boundaries of your own physical body. You may not be consciously aware, but the life within you is longing to break these boundaries. When you want to break your mental boundaries, you may long to have a serious conversation or read a book, drink alcohol, take a drug, or do something freaky. To break your physical boundaries, you may want to pierce yourself, get a tattoo, dye your hair, or go the old-fashioned way of sex. The intention of sex is great, but the method is hopeless. Pleasure is involved, so it drives two people toward each other, but oneness comes only momentarily. So you try to meet in other areas of emotion and intellect. People are always trying to find common ground. We like the same ice cream, both of us are blonde, both of us play video games, share the same zodiac sign, and like the same TV shows, but unless you understand that you can never become one, you will not learn to enjoy the opposite. These two energies, which in the human race we call masculine and feminine, are always trying to come together. At the same time, except for this longing to be together, they are opposites. They are lovers and enemies at the same time. If they look for similarities, there seems to be little common ground, but the attraction of the opposite is always there. A lot of people cannot face the basic physical act as it is, so they have invented all kinds of decorations around it to make it beautiful. You always add emotion to it, because without emotion it would seem ugly. In some way you are trying to cloud your vision of reality with lots of decorations. Sex is natural, it is there in the body. Sexuality is something you invented, it is psychological. If sex is in the body, it is fine, it is beautiful. The moment it enters your mind, it becomes a perversion. It has no business with your mind. Sex is a small aspect of you, but today it has become huge. For many, it has become life itself. If you look at modern societies, I would say probably 90% of human energy is being spent either pursuing or avoiding sex. Sex is just nature's trick to reproduce. If this attraction of opposites did not exist, the species would become extinct. But now we have made such a distinction between man and woman, almost as if they are two separate species. No other creature on the planet has the kind of problems with sex that humans have. With animals, the urge is present in their body at certain times, otherwise they are free from it. With humans, it is on their minds all the time. One reason this has happened is that in the past, many religions went about denying a simple physical process to the extent of making it sinful. Because we could not even accept the biology of a human being, instead of looking beyond the limitations of the biological process, we tried to deny it. If we had no problem with biology, we would not make a distinction between who was who. Everybody would be known for what they are worth, whether somebody is male or female would be irrelevant. The whole exploitation of women starts once you cannot accept the fundamental differences between a man and a woman. You do not have to make biology sacred, nor do you have to make it filthy. It is the instrument of life. Because of it you exist. If you know how to live it without elevating it or making it ugly, it has a beauty of its own. The sensuousness that you experience in life is a chemical invitation for something that is not you to become a part of you. This is nature's way of instigating you toward a union, or yoga. Though sensuousness is celebratory in its nature, it is discriminatory too. When two individuals are in a passionate meeting, the rest of the world is excluded, or even obliterated. If the celebration has to last, your sensuousness or your passion has to become all-inclusive. If you are in a state of all-inclusive passion, we call this yoga. So, denial is not the answer. Expansion is the only answer. And if you have not known the sensuousness of the life-giving breath that is on every moment of your life, how can you even begin to know any other kind? Experiencing the orgasmic nature of the breathing process is called Anapanasati Yoga, the yoga of incoming and outgoing breath. Anapana literally means in and out. Sati means female consort. So, the reference here is clearly to orgasmic union. And so, Anapanasati Yoga is a process that initiates you into a conscious and profound involvement with your breath, and shows you how the simple incoming and outgoing breath can become a source of nameless ecstasies. Sadhana. The higher possibilities of life are housed in the human body. The physical body is a platform for all possibilities, from the gross to the sacred. You can perform simple acts of eating, sleeping, and sex as acts of grossness, or you can bring a certain dimension of sanctity to all these aspects. This sanctity can be achieved by bringing subtler thought, emotion, and intention into these acts. Above all, remember that the grossness and sanctity of something is largely decided by your unwillingness and unconsciousness, or your willingness and consciousness. Every breath, every step, every simple act, thought, and emotion can acquire the stance of the sacred if conducted recognizing the sanctity of the other involved, whether a person or a foodstuff or an object that you use. Of all the loving acts that two human beings are capable of, the simple act of holding hands can often become the most intimate. Why is this so? Basically, because the nature of the hands and feet is such that the energy system finds expression in these two parts of the body in a very singular way. Two palms coming together have far more intimacy than the contact between any other parts of the body. You can try this with yourself. You don't even need a partner. When you put your hands together, the two energy dimensions within you, right-left, masculine-feminine, solar-lunar, yin-yang, etc., are linked in a certain way, and you begin to experience a sense of unity within yourself. This is the logic of the traditional Indian namaskar. It is a means of harmonizing the system. So, the simplest way to experience a state of union is to try this simple namaskar yoga. Put your hands together, and pay loving attention to any object you use or consume, or any form of life that you encounter. When you bring this sense of awareness into every simple act, your experience of life will never be the same again. There is even a possibility that if you put your hands together, you could unite the world. If you enjoyed this audiobook, please subscribe to my channel, Rapid Reads, for more insightful content. Thank you for listening.